Well, welcome back. Well, spring has sprung, and with it comes a competitive home buying season. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage now at 5.1%. That is down from the highs of the last couple of weeks, dropping for the first time in weeks, by the way. Despite this decline, though, mortgage rates have surged to decade highs this year, and the current rate is still drastically higher than the same time last year, when this number was at 2.98%. What a move in 1 year. Joining me right now is the CEO of Century 21, Mike Miedler. Mike, it's great to have you. Thanks so much for being here. First off, have you seen any cooling off on this market as a result of 5% mortgage rates? Assess the market for us.
Yeah, good morning, Maria. Obviously, a lot of the macroeconomics, like you just talked about, are changing the market. We're definitely in a different place than we were even, kind of 3 months ago. We've seen the highest run-up in mortgages that we've seen in a 120-day span. Like you said, the mortgage rate is over the rate that it's been in a decade. The good news is that there is still a lot of demand of people who have a lot of savings, because we've had a lot of savings here in the U.S. and people saving up their money for that dream of home ownership. And again, the good news is that there are plenty of jobs out there. So even though we've seen a quick rise in mortgage rates, we are still seeing people active, very active in the market. Problem is, again, with inventory, right? Our active listings are down 10% from last week, year over year, and our pending listings are down 14%. So it's really trying to get available inventory to the market. And, even with higher mortgage rates, we're seeing still a run up in the median sales price, about 17% year over year from last week, and a sale to list price ratio of about 102%. So believe it or not, homes are going off the market quicker today than they were even in the frothy market that we saw a year ago, where mortgage rates are.
Yeah, it's a great point because of this lack of supply. It's keeping prices elevated. We did a whole panel on this at the Milken conference where, all of my guests were saying this does not look like 2007 at all because of that supply issue. What are your expectations for the spring home buying season then?
Yeah, I mean, there's no more cyclicality, to be quite honest with you. I'm hoping that more homes will come on the market. But the truth of the matter is, from our generational standpoint and population and household formation standpoint, you've got millennials who are the largest generation storming the marketplace, 90 million of them. Right behind them, Gen Z, 60 million of them. And honestly, we just have not built enough homes in this country. Between 2012 and 21, we had 12 million new household formations, but only built 7 million new homes. And so I think, obviously, with inflation and where the prices of lumber and labor are in this country right now, you don't have a lot of builders, really working double time to catch up to what we need from an overall supply perspective. So, we're going to be in a pinch. I know that NAHB has been, raising their forecast for homes built, but we need to be working double time in order to get the supply that we need back out to the marketplace.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the perfect storm. Mark Tepper, jump in here.
Hey, Mike, I'm trying to figure out if there's any chinks in the armor as it relates to the housing market. So my question for you is, how are higher mortgage rates affecting homes that are currently under contract? And I'm talking about homes that are actually being sold with a mortgage contingency in place, so non-cash buyers. Are you seeing more of those situations fall through because the buyer can't meet the mortgage contingency? I could only imagine a buyer showing up with a pre-qualification letter from 3 months ago at a 3% rate. Now that rates are 5%, they might not be able to meet that mortgage contingency. So are you folks seeing stuff like that happening?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it really comes to that first-time homebuyer segment of the market, which is roughly anywhere from 29 to 32% of the market in a normal time. And it's a great question because today, the average family would need about $30,000 more in income than they would need just a year ago in order to purchase the median average price for a home. So it's really going to, I believe, hurt the new entrance to the market, the first-time home buyer. We haven't seen it right now. Yeah. Again, I believe because there's so much pent-up demand there and so many folks coming into the market that have a decent savings rate, maybe more than 20% down, or they're getting some money for mom and dad or a family member.
Yeah, we had the president and CEO of the Corcoran Group on Tuesday. Pamela Liebman joined me, and she said this is actually pricing a lot of people out of the market, and they're pushing them into the rental market. Problem is, rents are also soaring. Here's Pam Liebman. Watch this. When you talk about the price of a home right now and the fact that it has risen so much, some people will say, well, we're in the housing bubble. We're in where we were back in 2006. And you say?
Absolutely not. It's not even close. I mean, the way they wrote mortgages back then is completely different than the underwriting that's taken place. The oversupply back then was significant, and we just don't have it. We are so undersupplied across the country that I do not believe one iota in a housing bubble.
So, Mike, how long can this go on then? I mean, we're seeing prices up across the board, and the rental market is also up.
And I think that's the counterbalance, right, Maria? Pam is a good friend of mine and a colleague, and she operates in a lot of the high-end markets across the United States. But even in secondary and tertiary markets, you're seeing the same exact thing. So you have a choice. You know, you're going to pay a little bit more in your mortgage, and you're going to either save a little bit more for a down payment and increase to 20% so that you can meet that, standard of 28% of your income going to your housing, or you're going to pay it on the other side of the equation, which is in rents. The great thing about housing is that people need shelter. People need a home. It's not just a financial investment. It's also a very emotionally driven investment. And I think people really look at their home as the first place they're going to save money and put their dollars and invest it. So, again, I agree everything with Pam's saying.
Yeah, I mean, the New York Times reported it's been $6 trillion in gains in home equity just in the last 2 years. Mike, we're watching it, and we hope to catch up with you along the way. Thanks very much for being here this morning. Mike Miedler joining us.
Appreciate it, Marie.
On mortgage rates.